We are here today with Joy Lezer. Good morning.
See you this morning.
Morning. You know, we want to talk about rent increase because there's a lot of confusion. How do you raise the rent? Okay, and anywhere, multifamily, retail, warehouses, industrial. Okay, what is the objective? So the objective is obviously right to make money. Okay, we buy a property that you can raise rent and therefore you can make money. If you can raise the rent, let's say it's flat, can you make money?
No.
You cannot. So for example, okay, blue cities. Here is deal for you, okay? 50 units, write it down. Show the audience, 50 units in New Jersey area, okay? 40 of the units are rent stabilized. What does it mean? It can go up, but like very little, maybe 1%, 2%. 10, it can go up. You can write 10 of them, it can go up regardless, as long as you want, as much as you want, okay?
Market rent.
Market rent. Here's the problem, okay? So let's say the average rent is for argument's sake, okay, $2,000, okay? The $2,000 right now, okay, you want to write down? $2,000, okay?
Average rent, right?
Average rent, right. So for 40 units, maybe I can go up 10, 20 bucks, 30 bucks. I didn't do anything. For the other 10 unit, potentially can go up to 2,300. Okay, let's say put 2,300 for 10 unit, no rent, and for the
rent.
stabilize, right, it's $10, $20, right. So there's a couple of problems here, okay? By the way, those are blue states, okay? That's why we avoid going to blue states. So here's number one, the issue is, okay, now you're gonna mix different kind of tenant because you're gonna have different demographic for the 23, 25, even 2,500 bucks. You can put 2,500. Some cases can go up to 2,500 for the 10 units.
For the market rent.
Right. So the one that paid 2,000, we both agree it's different demographic, 2,000 and 2,500. That's the way it is, okay? So number one, you're gonna have that issue, okay? So I'm gonna pay 2,500 to live with people that pay 2,000. I'm not so happy about it. Mm-hmm. So the next thing is, okay, it become a mishmash, okay, and now how do you evaluate your return? I mean, you can make money. By the way, 40 is the majority. If you tell me it's the other way around, 40 is market rent and 10 is not, I'm okay, I can live with that. So that's the reason why we avoid blue states. People ask me, why you don't go to New York, New Jersey, California for that matter.
But are you able to get deals in the blue states that are not rent controlled?
No, you cannot. By the way, there's no rent control anymore. It's rent stabilized.
Stabilized rent.
Right. You cannot because the law over there, I don't know what percentage, but the majority of the buildings you're gonna have mixed. A lot of rent.
And this is every property in New York, New Jersey, more or less blue states.
It's a new law, yeah.
Really? So every deal you touch in New York?
Not every deal, most deals. So
majority of deals,
right.
You're saying.
If you have a deal that doesn't have it, it's probably gone already. It's going to go fast, right?
Right, it's going to go fast because that's
correct, yeah.
Scarce.
So we try to avoid that. So now let's talk about okay, how do you raise rent? Okay, so there's a few ways. Let's go to a new page. How to raise rent, okay? How to raise rent. Now, this is something that a lot of people don't know about it, okay? And our job is to communicate to the world, okay, and to teach real estate. Again, we're not doing it for money. I'm not selling courses. People ask me, do you sell courses? No, there's no courses. The only way you're gonna learn from me is go to YouTube. And if you like what you see, we'll really very much appreciate it if you can press subscribe and like and share. That will really help us, help the cause, okay, what we're trying to do here. So how to raise rent? Number one, we have a form of renovation. Okay.
Renovation.
Yep. So call it CapEx. But put number one so we know. Put number one, please, thank you. Renovation, CapEx. We're going to talk about number two, lease burn off. Okay? Now, right now, those are the two major. Thank you. My favorite one, what's my favorite one, Joey?
CapEx.
CapEx, my favorite one, wrong.
I'm wrong on that.
Wrong on that, yeah. My favorite one.
I had a 50-50 chance right there.
Lease burn off.
Lease burn off.
Why is that? Okay, because lease burn off. Okay, my my renovation. Okay, to bring it to get more rent. Okay, is bare minimum. Some painting job. Okay, maybe a cleanup. That's it.
Right. So classic turnover.
Classic turnover.
expenses.
Very very little. I don't have to do kitchen. I don't have to do bathroom. I don't have to do flooring. Nothing. It's already there. It's already done. Okay. So question, why not, why forget number one, just do number two? You can't. Because to get to number two, you have to get number one first. What does it mean? So the first year, you're gonna do the CapEx renovation, and then once it's done, the kitchen is done, the bathroom is done, right? Flooring, everything, now the person leave, now we call it lease burn off.
Got it.
Okay? However...
So lease burn off, just so I can summarize what you're saying. So basically, a tenant lives there, they now leave because their lease ends, and now you're able to raise the rent because they left the old lease, and now you can raise it for the new lease who's coming in as a new tenant.
Providing the unit is nice and clean. Now, I'm going to go even further. For number one, put down type of property, B and C. Mostly, B and C.
Class B and C.
Right. Number two, mostly Class A. Okay. However, if you're able, okay, if you finish your renovation CapEx for the Class B and C for the first year, the second year it become lease burn off. But for the first year, this is for the first year only. You are gonna have to do for Class B and C, no matter what, if you want to get the rent. Now, how much I'm looking to get? So let's say average rent under number one is $1,500. I want to go up to $1,750, $1,800. I need to do the CapEx. If you want to write it down.
Right. So in order for the renovation to, and in order for you to get that $1,800 in rent, that boost of $300, you can't just say, hey, old tenant, get out of my unit. I'm going to raise it $1,800. You got to do something to the unit or to the property as a whole.
Exactly. That's another conversation, right? So if you want to write, okay, so $1,500 to $1,750 to $1,800, right? To $1,750, whatever. Yes, that's the no rent 1750.
And raised.
Now, I would like to add one more thing for number three. Number three, rental comes in the area. Ladies and gentlemen, it's extremely important before you do anything. You want to see what are the camps, okay? What are the camps in the area before you execute? What does it mean? Let's say my average rent, let's say my average rent right now is $1,500. In my camps in the area, okay, $1,200, $1,300. Can I raise rent?
Of course not.
From this point on, it's only going to go down.
It's going down. That means you're over market.
And as a matter of fact, that $1,500 could be fake. I've seen some fake leases.
What you mean with the seller?
Yeah, I've seen that too. I've seen fake leases too. You gotta be careful. You gotta look at the market rent, okay? Because
I guess that's another conversation for another time.
Conversation. Market rent.
Due diligence, yeah.
It's extremely important, okay, before you execute the rent camp in the area. Really, really important, okay? In this situation, okay, classic situation, Joy, the average rent $1,500, market camps in the area, I would say $1,600 to $1,800. Right, done? So we are going with the $1,500 average rent, right?
Right.
Right. Now, what does it mean, okay? Does that mean, Joy, right now I'm getting rent $1,500, okay, I'm gonna just lease expire, let me go to $1,800. I didn't do anything in the unit. I can't get it. Can I get it?
No.
Of course not. Because the unit is dirty, okay? I need to have a good story for potential tenant to pay more rent, because otherwise they're going next door. And by the way, it's extremely important, okay? Extremely important to have very much, before all this, when you try to raise rent, curve appeal. Why?
Right, that's your big thing.
Yeah, if you are,
about that, yeah.
That's a bit, yeah, and I want to show the audience, you can show one of our property, you can show, we have a few, but if you want to show Gainesville again,
you want to show Forest View? Is that okay?
You can show Forest View, yeah.
As an example.
Yeah, and you're coming in, I don't know if you have the videos, but if you're coming in, okay, it's very, very important. Okay, so if you go to Forest View, but I don't know, go to the website, so you see over here, for example, see over here? Let me show, make it big. Right, go make it smaller. So when you go over here, you see, Over here, you're coming in the parking area, okay? It's very inviting. It's gated. It doesn't have the pictures here, okay? It's gated and whatnot, okay? And that's any property. We have a property in Orlando, but anyway, that's fine for now, okay? Go back to this, right. So before you even raise rent, I don't mean to bore you guys, curb appeal is number one. Curb appeal is number one thing in property management because you can have gold, granite, gold on the floor, okay? You can have like the marble, something that costs like $5,000-$6,000 a month on the beach, okay? You're not gonna get anything. You're gonna get zero if your curb appeal is not appealing. Because guess what? I'm a potential tenant, I'm not going in. I see trash on the floor, okay? I see broken cars, okay? I'm not going in. I'm making a U-turn, go to the next community. So curb appeal is very important. Now going back to number one, okay? The renovation capex, okay? So let's take an example, okay? So to get rent from $1,500 to $1,750 to $1,800, like you want to get $250 extra, right?
Right.
So what we have to do, okay? Take an example. Put a range unit. Go down. Let's take an example. Put an example, yeah.
Let's get rid of this.
No, you can go down.
Go down?
Yeah, you go down. Because we're going to refer to this. All right, 300 community, okay. Right, done.
What was that?
300 units, okay. Central Florida. Average rent is call it $1,250.
$1,250.
Yep. Now, how much is that per month per year?
That is, quick calculation, 300 times 1,250 times 12 is 4.5 million gross income.
Thank you very much. $4.5 million, okay? So let's talk about, I know we're jumping, we're going to go back to the rent in a minute, okay? What is the NOI here? Let's take 50%.
So
guys,
50% for expenses.
Always take 50% expenses before you execute for the income.
That's 2.25 million.
Right, most of the time, or a lot of the time, unfortunately, sellers are going to demonstrate 35%. By the way, I saw some 30%, okay? You can't run property like that, okay?
And why would sellers do that?
Because the NOI goes up. So in other words, see this number? Okay, the lower the number, the lower the expenses is, more money you get in NOI. What does it mean? More money in purchase price. So for example, let's divide this by, this guy is asking typical, this kind of deal, typical $150 a door. How much does that come out to?
150 a unit. 150,000 times 300.
45?
45 million.
Thank you. Put 45 million asking price. What's the NOI?
45 mil.
What's the cap rate? Cap rate?
Cap rate 2.25 million. You divide that into the purchase price 45 mil. That's a 5 cap.
5 cap. Okay. So this 5 cap, and obviously, are we meeting the 1% rule?
You average rent is $1,250. You're doing 150.
We're not meeting the 1%.
You're not meeting it, no.
What will be the right price? 125 times?
125.
How much is that?
Which is 1% of the asking rent.
1% of the asking rent should be the
So 125 a door.
1% of the asking rent.
300 is 37. The offer would be, for your offer, 37.5 mil.
Okay, so let's explain the audience 1%. What's a 1% rule? 1% rule is if the asking price is, can you put on per door how much this offer?
Yeah, so this is 125 a door.
Thank you. What does it mean? 125 a door, 1% rule. 1% of 125 a door is my rent. I'm okay. I'm in the money. I'm okay. What's the cap rate on this one now, on this offer?
So for 37 million, so 2.25, which is your NOI, divided by 37.5 for the purchase, for the offer, is a 6 cap.
That's a 6 cap. So this,
So
6 cap. This is a great opportunity, great deal, okay? 125 a door. However, okay, thank you. I'm paying $37.5 million, 125 a door, 1% rule. But you can, this got to be in a bigger city, if you know what I mean. If you go to a secondary market or tertiary market, okay, you want to pay 6.5 cap, okay? So
the better the market, the lower the cap.
Correct,
The
right.
worse the, secondary or tertiary
Exactly.
market, you're going to get a higher cap.
Exactly. Now, it's very important to notice, okay, Can I raise rent here? What's my average rent right now, Joey? 1250.
1250 in this example.
Okay, so now let's go. I want to raise rent here. Okay, I don't know if I can raise rent. How come I don't know? I need to
No, the comps.
I need to look at the comps. Okay, but I'm assuming, okay, if you have if this deal in Orlando, and you have mostly 2 and 3, I know I can raise rent.
Two and 3 bedrooms.
Oh, correct, yeah. I know I can push rent to $1,500 to $1,600 a month. It's okay, Orlando, okay? So let's see what will be my new, by the way, before we execute to buy, we always look at the price to sell. I'm always looking at exit strategy because I always want to know, what if I need tomorrow cash? What if I'm in liquidity crisis, okay? I want to know if I can get out. I'm not buying with the idea, oh, market is going up, let's buy. Just like Bitcoin, which by the way, Bitcoin is going down now, right?
It's going down now.
Right. So is that going to buy Bitcoin? No, it doesn't mean anything. You have to buy on a dip. Yeah, you can buy Bitcoin, okay, when it comes down lower enough, but do you understand Bitcoin? We don't do Bitcoin, we do real estate. So we don't buy real estate because it's going up, because market is going up. We buy real estate because we did our homework, we did our due diligence, and we know there's enough meat in the bone. An example, okay? So this one we paying $37.5 million, $125 a door. I would be more comfortable at $115 a door, but that's okay. Let's look at the comps now, and the comps are $1,500 to $1,600, right? Average. So yeah, thank you. So now I need to raise my rent by how much?
That would be about $250 to $300.
$300 average, okay?
$300,
so $300 average rent. What's the sell price once I do that?
Rent
Joey?
increase $300.
Right. What's my sell price?
What's your sale price?
Yeah.
So we'd have to do.
So 300, yeah.
Let's say 300 over. So that means your average rent would be 1250 plus 300, which is 1550 on average.
Times 12 times the 300, yeah.
Times 12 times 300, which is 5.58 million, and then 50%. You would operate at 50 or 40%?
I operate at 42, 43%.
Okay, so you have to calculate the new
42%
income, right? So times 58%, because you want to get the NOI.
Right.
Yeah, times 58%, because you care about now the income. That's the income portion. So it's 3.2.
My new NOI is how much? 3.2?
New NOI. Let me stay on this page here. New NOI. Just over 3.2 million, and then divided by the cap. So 3.2 divided by, it's a little over 3.236 divided by what cap rate would this trade?
6 cap.
About a 6 cap. That's a 53.9, actually $54 million.
Thank you. How much you pay for the property?
You pay 37.5 on your house.
Well, not so fast. Right, not so fast. Let's go back to source and uses.
Okay, yeah, source and uses.
So now we're going to talk.
Let's go over here. Yeah.
So by the way, ladies and gentlemen, okay, I raised the rent by $300, not because of my blue eyes, or hey, how are you, so? Okay, I raised the rent by $300 because I put money in capex, okay? And this is really important. Do not do capex from operating. You need to have money set aside. So we're gonna go over here. Source and uses. How much is the purchase price?
So you got it for 37.5 in this case, right? Plus, your renovation budget is typically how much for a property like this?
We need about, how many units?
It's 300.
We need 10,000 a door.
10,000 door for the whole property, 10,000 door for
everything.
Portion. 10,000 door for everything.
I do it, yeah. So that's not what we're going to talk about. $3
million bucks.
Like $3 million bucks.
For capex.
Right.
This is purchase price.
I will put 12,000 a door, okay?
You put 12,000 a door.
Yeah.
So 12,000 a door times 300. 3.6. So you would escrow 3.6 million. Okay. What else?
Alrighty. Plus closing cost 1.4.
1.4. Is that a certain percentage, or are you just using that as a general?
I'm using it. Could be 2%, 2.5%. Yeah, I like this. I want to be very conservative. Okay. That comes out to $42 million, right?
That's a 1.4 million on the purchase price. That's like a 3%. I think it's 3%.
That's good. Yeah.
That's okay. So this is closing costs.
Right.
Okay.
So that's 42 all in.
All in. So it's 37. 37.5 plus 3.6 plus 1.4, 42 and a half.
Right, 42. How much is sold for?
Total, all in. 42.5. You're selling
54.
at 50. We'll go up here. 54 million.
Minus commission, minus things. We have about $10 million, okay? $10 million profit average, right?
10 to 12 million
Correct. Yeah, okay.
profit.
So
That's 11
this is
and a half,
our
I
this
think.
is our wealth make, okay, in the market, okay. Here's a question, Joey. So how do I raise now? So I have 300 units, right?
Right.
Okay, let's go to the rent right now. Remember, we are looking to our average rent is how much?
When you bought it,
Right.
$12.50.
Right. So you want to get now $300, right? Okay.
Right.
Question. I'm an operator. Okay. I want to be a nice guy. Okay, because I'm a nice guy, and I want the next potential seller buyer to be happy with me. So I'm going to go fix all the units.
No.
I have 300 units.
You wouldn't want to.
Why not? Why?
Like you always say, if you don't do that, you're not leaving meat on the bone for the next guy.
Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, very important. Do not renovate all the building. You renovate about 1/3 of it. Leave 2/3 for the next buyer. So how do you raise rent? Joey, how do you raise rent? So you mean to tell me I'm only going to raise rent on 1/3 of property and the other 2/3 I'm not raising rent?
No, you wouldn't do that.
I won't.
You would not. No, not you. Maybe some other people would do
right.
it. But
So here was going to happen. It was going to happen. So the average rent here was going to happen. What's my new rent?
$15.50.
Put it all rent next to it. All rent. Renovating 300 units, right? We're renovating 300 units, meaning 1/3, right?
Just put him back here so people see.
Right. So here was happening. Okay, how many units? Put 300 units. 1/3 only renovate.
1/3.
By the way, this is a secret that of the rich, okay? That most people don't know that. If you learn one thing today, this is really, really important, okay? You only renovate 1/3 of property. Let me explain, okay? So what happened to my new rent? How am I getting new rent? I tell you how, okay? My new renovated units, average rent right now, $1,600. I'm pushing $1,600 to $650 to $1,625. And then my classic, called the classic non-renovated, okay,
So 200 units non-renovated.
gonna be about $1,450 to $1,500.
1450,
To $1,500.
1500.
Guess what? At the end of the day, it matches.
When you blend
We're
these
gonna blend it in, this two,
it's
okay?
about 1550,
Correct,
50
correct.
average rent.
Now, what does it mean? How is it possible? How do I get, okay, how can I get non-revenue so high? Here's what happened, okay? My curve appeal is there, it's there. I did my curve appeal, I fixed it, okay? Because by the way, go back, how much for renovation here?
I think you put a 3.6 million.
Correct, $3.6 million, was that?
12,000 a door, you said.
Correct, okay? So let's take $12,000 for 100, and how much is that, 1.2 million?
That's 1.2 million, yeah.
Yeah, you know what, I gotta tell you, 3.6 too much, Joey.
Probably too
I will
much.
put $3 million. Go back, fix the $3 million, it's too much.
That's 10 a door.
There you go.
That means you're all in, was that 3.5, 4.5? Can't do this.
Well, the thing is now, the $3 million, Joey, I will do it a different way, okay, the capex. $12,000 a door for 100 is how much?
41.9. Was that?
$12,000 a door,
12 for the capex, 12 a door?
yeah, times 100, how much?
That's 1.2 million.
I would take 40% of the building, 40%. Change it one to make it 40-60.
Okay, so you do 40% of
Correct.
the units that you would
Correct, 12 times, yeah, how much is that?
So 300 times 40%.
Yes.
120 units.
Yeah, 120 times 12 is how much?
120.
Put on the capex breakdown.
120
so we know.
times 12,000. Mm-hmm. So it's 1.4 million.
Yeah, beautiful.
So your new cap. So your new cap, and so now you're going deep. Now you're going more detail.
Yeah, let's go.
Maybe you can explain to the audience.
Yeah, I
like
want to
how
explain about the capex. Okay, let's go capex page. Okay.
Let's go back. So let's go to a new page here. Let's go down here.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's extremely important to have the curve appeal. Okay, I know I sound like a broken record, and you will see me as a broken record because if you don't have the curve appeal, you have nothing. You need curve appeal. Therefore, we ask for enough money, okay, in the capex for the budget. How much is the budget? 3 million. $3 million budget, okay?
3 million.
Thank you. Inside unit, I said 12,000 times 100 is how much? 1.2?
120.
1.2 million.
Units, huh?
Correct, yeah.
120 units, 12,000 a door, 1.44 million.
How much?
1.4.
Okay.
That's
Text and
100
miscellaneous,
that's
okay?
40% of the units.
Well, yeah, rounded up to 1.5 million, okay?
Okay.
Miscellaneous, okay? 1.5, thank you. Now we have 1.5 left. The 1.5 left, is that for Keverpil? Yes, it is for Keverpil, okay? And that's part of the renovation, that's part of raising the rent, okay? What is the 1.4 include, 1.5 right now we have left, okay? So, Joey, $3 million, 5% contingency, that's 150.
And this is for exterior, the other.
We're talking about capex. No, it's for $3 million. Next one, you have 150 below, right? And $150,000 for
so now you go in detail.
Correct. Painting about $1 million.
150,000 miscellaneous.
Painting about 500 to 750, depending on how big is the property. Could be $1 million, okay?
Painting.
Right. How much you have left?
You have, can't spell painting right. Painting, 500. So you have 150, so that's about, let's say you're all in 850. So 850 minus what, the 1.5 for the exterior?
Right.
So you have another 650 left.
So I would, you know what, because depending on the building size, it could cost up to $1 million, okay? Leave enough money painting, put $1 million for the painting.
$1 million bucks.
Yeah. All right. The balance gonna go for a, landscaping, signage, and sprinkler system.
That's another, what is that, 350?
Well, you have, yeah.
350, because 150 million, 350,
That's
1.5.
That's it? There you go.
That would be it.
Okay. Now go back to the capex, to the inside of the unit. Okay, 12,000. It's extremely important. How much that per door? 12,000, right, Dan? 12,000 a door?
This is 12K a door. 12.
So unfortunately, okay, unless you team up with the right sponsor or the right manager or the right partner, you're gonna end up paying about 25,000 a door for renovation for the unit. Yeah.
Why is that? Third party. They're using like a regular GC.
Regular GC. Listen, I get three. I always get 3 quotes, even though 3 bids. Even though we are GCs, we do in house. I want to know, okay, how much they charge on the outside, so I can smile. I love it because I see how people, okay, repping you, okay, if we don't do it right, and we don't like to get ripped.
So how do you get?
No one likes to get ripped, right?
How do you get it for 50%? How do you get it for 50%?
I have inside a.
So you have people you've worked with for many years that already know you.
I have the inside. I have my own GC company, okay, and we are doing kitchen and really beautiful units for under 10,000, 11, 12,000 max. Right. That's extremely important, by the way, that cut into your profits. So it's extremely important to team up with the right partner or the right sponsor for that matter. Yeah. Now we're going to see where the money come in, okay? Now can you raise the rent? Now, by the way, therefore, I have ladies and gentlemen, I have $1.5 million, okay, set up, okay, for capex on the outside, capex, right? Landscaping, painting, signage, more landscaping, lighting too, by the way, landscaping, lighting, okay? Therefore, my rent is going up regardless, okay? Just some painting, okay? So why do the renovation altogether? You always want to push higher rent, regardless. It's good to push higher. You want, one more secret, why am I doing the capex for 1/3, for 40% of the property, okay?
Like we said earlier,
40%?
You said 40%, yeah.
Right, because number one, next buyer, okay? Number two, okay, I'm trying to demonstrate to the next buyer, look at me. I renovate some units, look how much I'm getting. They love it. Right. They love to see, okay, a demonstration of new rent, okay, based on new renovation.
Because you're proving the business plan.
I'm proving, this is what they call it, executing a business plan. And therefore, what's my profit now at the end of the day? A nice 10 mil.
About 10 million, yeah.
That's our bread and butter, and that's how we make.
And you do all this, how long does this take you to do, typically on a property?
The whole thing, so depending on the
Like total renovation, let's just go
Right,
like detail to that.
right. Depending on the property, because if it's student housing and you try to convert to regular, it can take you 2 years, maybe a little longer, but 2 year max, okay? But usually about 16 to 18 months.
So very quick.
Yeah, very quick.
Because some people think real estate investing is like you buy a property, you know, and you kind of just sit on it. And
So
you
yes,
don't do much. You kind of collect rent every month.
So this is
That's it.
class B and C. Now we're going to talk class A. Ready for class A?
Let's do it.
Let's do it,
Let's
okay?
go. Let's go class A. So typically this whole situation to make $10 million, obviously it's a lot of work.
Right.
Like you just said, you have to do all this, CapEx. You have to have your project manager overseeing everything, right? And then you have to get the old tenants out and get the new tenants out and raise the rent. So you're doing all that. That's like a full-time job.
Right, but by the way, we don't, people ask, do I need to get a tenant out if I do new kitchens? I don't. I'm not doing new kitchens for people that live there. I'm doing it as it become available. So on average, a 300 unit, average, 300 divided by 12 is how much?
300.
Divided by 12?
300 units?
Yes. 12 months of the year?
25 units.
25 units on average, okay, get a...
Per month?
Excuse me?
Per month?
Yeah, 25 units, not get evicted, okay, but get turnover.
25 a month.
Where you're able to, yeah.
So that's when you're able to go in and do it at a time.
Unfortunately, correct. Unfortunately for the landlord, okay, a lot of the people, they want to stay, they're very comfortable with the new rent, with the old rent, okay? So what you want to do, you want to send a renewal, okay? By the way, very important, okay? Don't wait till the last day before you send a renewal to a tenant, okay, to renew. So depending on your business model and providing you want to spend money to get more rent, yes? It's all about getting more rent. You want to send the renewal about 60 days out. Some people do it 90 days out and let them know, listen, the rent is going up, okay? However, we are going to offer you new kitchen, new bathroom, new flooring, and potentially put you in another unit, therefore you don't have to go through the renovation. You move into another unit, another renovated unit. Right. Now let's talk class A.
Let's talk class A.
Now we're talking class A, okay? Listen, class A is my favorite. However, okay, you gotta be patient, you have to have patience. Because you don't make money with the class A, okay, so fast, unfortunately. But class A only going to appreciate over the years, because when you're in a red state and you know population is only growing, not going down, what's gonna happen in property? Go up.
Goes up.
So for example, let's talk class A, okay? So let's talk over here, average rent.
So class A, so we just be a little more specific.
Look at his computer. Can you put the computer so he can look at it?
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
Right.
Yeah.
So class A, right? So class A average rent, let's say 2,000 a month, okay?
All right, so just before that, let's just understand what class A is. Class A is typically newer product, right?
Class A is newer product, 2022 newer. Yes, a couple of years old, okay?
2020 and newer?
At least 2020, yeah, right? And class A also we'll talk about a community that not necessarily a poor community.
So is there a difference between class A product and class A neighborhood?
Big time, big time. You're not going to put class A product in poor area.
Right.
Just like you're not going to put Starbucks in a poor area.
Right. But how about areas that gentrify? Sometimes
they're going to come. They will come. Yes, correct. Yeah, but there's another school of thought. Okay, they have another. That's not another class. That's now where they have affordable rent. There's class A affordable rent. Okay, in poor area that the government basically give to the people. If you want to write an affordable rent, class A affordable rent. Those are in a poor area. And the rent are definitely below market, and there's waiting list to get in for months, right? The rent does not go up too much. It goes up by best, and you can only rent based on the income. For example, okay, if you make more than $50,000 a month, a year, you can't get in. Mm-hmm. Makes sense? Or more than 50, 60,000, they have different things. Different requirements. Yeah. So it's basically designed for people that don't make a lot of money. The good news is they're getting a new product. Nice product. What's the bad news, Joey? Can't get in. There's waiting list for months to get in. So we don't typically do, we don't do affordable Class A. We will do Class A, but not necessarily affordable.
So would you
Pick one up, yeah.
would you consider something like this?
Which one?
Would you consider something like this as Class A?
Yeah, that's a Class A. That's a perfect example. Class A. What is this again?
I just looked up Florida Class A property.
All right, Class A. As you can tell over here, so what happened is, this one, see this? Those are all retail, usually they have retail or different use. Not necessarily apartment. The apartment starts here. All the apartments, okay? Very expensive, okay? Sometimes $3,000, $3,500 a month, okay? And the requirement too are tough, okay? They'll take you, but you have to make 2 times the income, 2.5 times, no, 3 times the income.
Sometimes even 3.
3 times the income, 2.5 to 3 at least.
It's like getting
okay?
a mortgage.
Yeah, yep. So now, what's the advantage for Class A for a landlord? Okay, we're all about making money. We're all about, we love our tenant, okay? Tenant love us, but at the end of the day, we have bills to pay. And we got a mortgage to pay. So if the tenant cannot afford Class A, they'll go to Class B or Class C. That's okay. Human being always seek shelter. Class A advantage, number one, they are in a better location, less crime. Right. Number two, very little, if any, deferred maintenance.
Right, because they're always typically newer properties.
Right. Okay, we're going to go back to disadvantage.
Okay.
But they also have the Class A advantage, okay? By the way, one of the Class A is that you rent to professional people. Could be doctor, could be lawyers, could be stuff like that, yes? For Class A. Class B and C, it's more of the working class people. Are they bad people? Absolutely not. Nobody's bad. Nobody's all good, nobody's all bad, okay?
Right.
But just as to by the class.
Right. But you're saying at the end of the day, there's ways to make money. Class A, Class B, Class C. There's always a way to
Always,
make money.
if you're smart, you gotta be
If you're
smart. You have to
smart
think.
about it, obviously,
Right.
you gotta know what you're doing.
Correct. Okay. But if you put down, if you like to rent to professionals, okay, that's a Class A advantage.
So tenant base.
10 best are more professional, doctors, attorneys.
Professionals, typically white collar.
Correct.
White collar workers.
Right. Working class is the Class B and C. Yes.
So what are some of the disadvantages, Class A?
You can't raise the rent, okay? You can't shock the system by raising the rent too much, 20, 30%, right?
Right.
Cannot raise too much.
Because
Okay?
typically when you buy a Class A, it's already at the market.
At the market, but you can raise rent, but little bit, little time, okay?
Can't raise rent much.
Correct.
Slightly.
Correct. It's a longer time hold, sometimes 7, 10 years.
Long-term hold. 7 to 10 years typically, right?
Bad economy, you got to be very careful because your vacancy is going up in bad economy. That's a fact.
And,
Vacancy-
vacancies would be what typically in a good economy?
5%, 5%. Bad economy, it can be 10% plus.
Wow. And that could really eat up your cash flow. And then
So what you do, the rent, so I would say bad economy, it can stay at 5%, but you can raise rent. You might have to go down a little bit. Okay? Another big disadvantage, sometimes it's because the rent is so high, okay, you're not catering to everybody. Your market is limited in Class A. However, if you're in Class A location, you know what I mean, then it makes up for it. So that's why Class B and C, that's where most of the money is. However, even though most of the money Class A, B and C, Class A is like a, call it like clipping coupon. Clipping coupon. What does it mean? Okay, that means your return 6%, 7%, safe, very safe, 5 to 7% return. Right done.
Annual return.
Safe.
And then another, I would say again for one of the advantages is it's less property intensive. You're not
Less
as,
property intensive, right,
Yeah.
correct, yeah. The list goes on with the advantage,
less property management oversight.
correct. And the important thing, less capex too, right? You put less capex, less little deferred maintenance, therefore little capex.
Barely any
And
capex.
by the way, you don't have to do new kitchens, new flooring, you don't have to do anything. All you have to do is typical turnover. From the
Right.
operating,
Painting, new carpet, cleaning.
typical, very typical. By the way, we have two big deals to underwrite, okay? Class A. Don't forget today, yes.
We're gonna do it today.
Yes. That's it already. So this is what we talked about. And again, back to how to raise rent, it's an ongoing conversation. Ongoing thing, next level, ongoing thing, the bottom line is C class. C, the best place to raise rent, C class. Then B, then come A. By the way, I've seen some D's, C minuses, yeah. That's a little bit.
That's very risky.
A little risk, yeah, because it's now the higher the class, right? Then you have more
Less risk
less risk value. The lower the class, more crime. You want to find a happy medium.
Yeah. But would you agree with or disagree that the lower the class, the more risk, and the higher the class, the less risk? Would you
And
agree
less
with that, or
reward, I
disagree
agree,
with that?
yeah.
You agree with that?
Happy medium. Don't go just like Democrat and the Republican. Too much to the right, no good. Too much to the left is no good either. Always happy medium. We love to be in the middle.
Right.
Okay, very good. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Eyal.
We'll do it again. All right, bye-bye.